Alright guys, I'm going to be making some steaks today. I got two here that I'm really curious at trying. I got a bone-in ribeye that the marbling is unbelievable. You can actually see it. Look at that intermuscular marbling. That's going to be fatty, delicious, and probably very, very juicy. Now here's a steak that I haven't made myself. It's a chuck steak. I'm really curious to see how that one comes out and how different it tastes compared to the normal steak. And with this cook, I'm actually going to be doing it over some live fire on my HOORAY Santa Maria grill. Now, if you've seen my videos before, or if you followed really any barbecuer out there, you'll know that you want to salt and season your steaks a little bit in advance, at least 1 hour before cooking. I have about 3 to 4 hours before I need to start up dinner, so I'm going to salt them up and make sure that everything is nice and covered. These are about 1.5 inch each. I'm going to be salting the whole thing properly, on the sides, on the top, on the bottom. Then I'm going to crack some fresh ground black pepper over these steaks and adding a little bit of garlic powder. Then it's going to be on a cooling rack and into the fridge it goes to relax until I'm ready to use them. The longer you leave it in the fridge, up to 24 hours, what's going to happen is the salt is going to penetrate those steaks. The moisture is going to start coming out and then reinfusing into the steaks. So the salt actually will penetrate deeper and you'll get a uniform flavor throughout. Sorry for some of these angles. It's a bit tough to film and crack black pepper and salt. All right, and when it's time to get cooking, take a look at this nice case that I got for the HOORAY grill. So I actually spoke with the company. They use an incredible company that manufactures these cases. We've had insane rain where I live and nothing has got wet. Nothing has trickled in. So far, I'm really impressed. Anyways, I unzip it, slowly get it off. And you always have that wheel that's exposed, which is really, really nice. And we're gonna get started. I'm opening up the side tray, lifting up those grates all the way to the top, or anything really past the halfway point becomes the maintenance zone. Or that's what they say. You'll see actually throughout this cook that doesn't really play out as well. I put way too much charcoals where it ended up burning really hot. By the way, guys, if you want any information on the HOORAY grill, take a look in the description section. As always, I put all the links to everything I'm using. You'll find information from HOORAY Grills, and for the Canadians, Luxury Fire Canada, where you can get your own HOORAY grill, the Santa Maria setup. And what's really cool about this, I know I'm doing it at night, but when you do it during the day and you got a bunch of friends coming over, it is fun to have everyone around the fire and just watching you cook and commenting on everything you're doing. So I start off with a chimney. I'm going to get my tumbleweeds, pour out some lumped charcoal into the chimney, the rest on the side. Perfect, that goes out. One tumbleweed. Let's set up my handy sous vide gun by Grill Blazers. Again, link in the description section, guys. Turn that flamethrower on. Kablam! I love that. And I'm just gonna light the side charcoals up a bit too, just because I like to watch those sparks. There's something so relaxing about lighting some charcoals. As the coals get nice and hot, I'm throwing on some hickory wood chunks by Bear Mountain. And while it's coming up to temp, I get back into the kitchen to prep my steaks. I'm using my ThermoWorks Signals thermometer. I'm gonna get those probes in. And I always wanna make sure that it's nice and in the center of the meat so you get a good reading. And into the chuck steak. Now that that's ready, I bring it to the grill and I can see the fire blazing. Oh, it's so relaxing watching a fire like that. It's like when you're going to a campfire, you're just watching the fire as the wood crackles. It's just something about it. Anyways, I pour out those charcoals over the rest of the coals. I lower the grates to where I want to start off. And then I'm using these long donkey tongs. They're actually called long donkey tongs. Play around so that my hands don't get too close to the blazing heat. That way I can redistribute the coals, play with the fire, and it's actually insanely handy. After about 5 minutes, I give a little scrape to the grates, clean them off. On the grill they go. You can see my hand can't stay there for too long. I plug in the probes, and we get a nice reading. 36 on the chuck, and 32 on the ribeye. The trick here is really to flip them regularly. That's really the trick when you're making steaks. I know there's different school of thought where some people say never flip it only once. But the problem is when you're cooking on live fire, the heat is so inconsistent that if you don't flip it, you're gonna burn one side. Or if you flip it too soon, you'll end up with a mediocre crust. And you're gonna see by the end of this, and the crust that I get is really extraordinary. Constantly flipping it, finding out where those hot zones are is very important. Honestly, the biggest challenge are these probes. I was actually worried that they would get damaged because of the heat. And I'm telling you, it's actually hard for me to stand where I am. It's so hot. So I'm probably gonna have to raise those grates right off the bat. And you can see, like I'm doing right here, I'm playing with the grate height because it really is an active cook. And I wanted to start getting a nice good sear on both sides. And here you can see, throughout the cook, look at that incredible crust that's coming along. As I keep flipping it, we're just at the borderline with how dark I want it. So I raise the grates up, and it's still insanely hot. The temperature is rising really quickly on the thermometer probe, so I gotta be careful. But the crust is unbelievable. Look at that. Beautiful crust. And I get a nice, juicy, crisp fat. And I'm gonna have to raise the grates even more, because otherwise it's gonna start to burn. Usually more than halfway is maintenance, but it's so hot, the fire. We need to cool it. Yeah, I think I put a little bit too many coals. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. Okay, and we're at 130 with the chuck. Chuck is almost done. See that? Yeah, 131. The ribeye is taking a bit longer, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep flipping it. I don't want it to burn at all. The heat is unbelievable. I don't know, this one needs a bit more on this side. Twist it around. See, now with live fire cooking, it's not set and forget at all. So you gotta be here the entire time, otherwise your meat's gonna overcook very quickly. Now on the chuck, I'm aiming at a 145 because my wife likes a little bit better done. And on my ribeye, I'm aiming for a 130 for medium rare. And then to kill the fire, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just lower those grates all the way. The fire is gonna extinguish itself by kind of depriving it of oxygen. But what's crazy is that there's actually a beautiful raised firebox. This is all a raised firebox with holes. So it allows airflow underneath and up, so you have an efficient fire. Instead of it burning and then kind of only burning on top, because if it was directly against the metal, well, you wouldn't really have the best burning fire. There we go. We gotta get you maybe over here. Just gonna keep flipping it. Ribeye's done in maybe 3 minutes. It's at 125. The chuck is at 130. And the heat is quite hot, obviously. It's starting to drizzle just a bit, which actually might be a perfect timing because this is gonna have to come off real quick. We're already reading 130 on my ribeye, so out he goes. I'm gonna get the ribeye out. Let's see how it comes out. Oh, looks gorgeous. Ooh. Maybe we're just gonna get a little crisping on that fat. Perfect. A couple more seconds with the chuck. That's what we're gonna do. And the chuck is reading. And now I'm gonna lower the grate all the way to the bottom. That's how you extinguish the fire with a Santa Maria. And we're gonna put it all the way down. We're gonna take this thermometer out. This one as well. And we're gonna give it a nice little sear quickly on the fat. Not to burn it, just to give it a nice little sear on the fat. That way you don't end up with that white gunky fat. There we go. And look at this. The marbling on this one was so incredible that the fat is actually breaking apart. By the way, guys, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and give me some feedback in the comments section. How can I make it better? What kind of content do you like? Do you like this version where it's more of a live feel, or do you prefer my old style? Let me know. Now that is how you do a delicious steak. Let's taste. Perfect medium rare, which is hard to get on a direct fire. I'm not gonna lie. The marbling on this one was unbelievable. The fat is caramelized. The meat is juicy. Has an incredible salty taste. It tastes a little bit of that garlic powder. Honestly, over fire, there's nothing like it. I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy this. My wife is filming, so she'll enjoy hers too. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.